of the knighted Bob Geldof, the guy who wrote that song that's still stuck in my mind about Mondays. So tell us about what's going on.
Yeah, him and Garfield. Um, well, Peaches Geldof was a multimillionaire worth about $10 million, from what I can gather. She was a reporter or something on British TV, and I apparently she had the same drug dealer as Amy Winehouse. That's one thing I
Sweet.
heard. Yeah. She died, and now it appears to be a big sad story. And I've never heard of her before this.
Huh.
And I'm guessing most people in the U.S. have never heard of her before this. But now we're supposed to feel bad about this because she's related to somebody.
Yeah.
Seems odd.
I had
So she,
I won't
hmm?
tell you who it is, but I actually interviewed a somewhat famous person, and he confirmed to me that his daughter purposely made up some story about her having drug and drunk binges just to get in the news.
Huh?
Yeah, so I mean, this is not surprising that you would do something. Although death is the ultimate in fakery when it comes to getting yourself in the news. But I'm sorry, I interrupted. Keep going with what you're going with.
Well, she's got all the signs of like, MK Ultra mind control slave, or Monarch butterfly mind control. She's a Scientologist for one. That's always interesting.
Mm.
She has a tattoo on her arm that says OTO,
Mm.
inside of a heart,
Really,
which
that's
is,
Order Templus Orientis.
yep, the
Wow.
Thelema, the Crowley religion that he ruined.
All right, all right.
Yeah. So appears to have some interesting hobbies. Her husband or boyfriend or whoever, the father of her children, is in a band called Scum
Mm-hmm.
that is quite popular apparently. That, again, never heard of it, and I don't know anybody else that's ever heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
Her father is worth about $150 million,
For what?
and that's what I wonder. He had one hit with the Boomtown Rats, a very shitty group that, as far as I can tell, is absolutely worthless musically, but is now credited for like starting punk, which makes no sense because it's really crappy pop. He Let's see, $300 million was fleeced from the world, and mostly fat Americans, from Live Aid.
Yeah.
Of that money, apparently most of it, obviously they probably gave 1% of it, but let's say they gave 10% of it, so that's $3 million to was supposedly to buy starving African children, which again, there wasn't really a thing at the time. It was just something that came up in the media. It was all of a sudden that all these children are starving in Africa. It wasn't actually true at the time. There's always been droughts and famines in that area, and it's like Sam Kinison said, why do you want to help out people that aren't smart enough to go where the food is? You
Right,
know?
right.
So yeah, so of that, however much was given, apparently 90 something percent of it went to buy guns for the warlords of the area, and
Mm-hmm.
so all that money raised didn't even amount to a bowl of rice for a starving Ethiopian kid. It ended up killing between like 30,000 and 100,000 Africans from gun violence, from the guns that they bought them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else do we know about Mr. Geldof?
I just typed in Band Aid charity scam, and there was this YouTube video. I'll post a link to it in the description below this video. The Ethiopian charity scam. Millions of dollars in Western aid for victims of Ethiopian famine were siphoned off by rebels to buy weapons, just like you said, according to the BBC.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Peach's mom was, after she divorced, or as she was divorcing Bob Geldof, she hooked up with Michael Hutchins of In Excess, the guy who supposedly killed himself by autoerotic asphyxiation.
Mm-hmm.
And Peaches has a half sister that is related to the In Excess guy, and through his mom, through her mom. Which a lot of people have said that that guy was either murdered or, like we talk about, disappeared to the island,
Right.
because yeah, his death was very suspicious, to say the least. And it was ruled a suicide, but there's no note, and supposedly he was tied up and whatever when he died. But that was what his mom, what her mom was going through, and then she died like 3 years later of an overdose. And now Peaches appears to have followed suit. I'm guessing in the next few days they'll say it was an overdose, and it'll be all sad, and it will, I'm guessing, take a little more pressure off of Daddy.
Let's talk about the death and hoaxes and fakery because that's what we do. If I were a betting man, again, I'd bet my entire life fortune that this did not happen the way we were told. Odds are she did not die.
Right?
What's amazing to me is how people react to death. And when you look at all the things that we've looked at from 9/11 to Sandy Hook to Boston bombings to this and that, you always find, everyone reacts to death in a different way. There's no formula to it. But when it comes to these psychological operations, they all have pretty much the same MO, which is that they're totally fine with the death. And if they try to shed, or if they try to cry, they don't shed any tears. Never, not once have I seen tears. So it'd be interesting to see if there's some sort of Bob Geldof video, seeing if he's crying over his daughter. What's amazing to me is how fast these people rush to the media to let us know how they feel about what has happened to their loved one. I don't know about you, Jim. My uncle had lost his son to suicide, 11 years old. And now my uncle was like a comedian. And from that moment on, for 30 plus years, he went into a hole. He literally could not talk. He was so distraught about losing his son. Yet you have these jokers and clowns that come on TV, and within minutes after losing their loved one, they're talking about how wonderful they are. They have a smile on their face. They're not tearing up. Their face isn't turning red. The makeup is not streaming down from their eyes. Just amazing to me. Don't you find that amazing?
Yeah, yeah. I think the statement the family made was they're beyond grief
Ah,
at the loss of her, so they've already gotten over it. Apparently,
wow.
they're already into denial or whatever. They're
Amazing. They're very
moving on.
quick healers.
Yeah. Apparently, also on the day before she died, on Instagram, she put a picture of herself as a baby that was apparently taken by her dad, and then the same day he put up the same picture on his Instagram. So both of them were just sitting around with copies of the same